Today, we're going to be looking at 25 of the craziest conspiracy theories that were ever shared on Reddit. Now, wasting no time, let's get straight into theory number one. Theory number one, mattress stores are fronts for money laundering or drug trafficking. Now, the conspiracy theory that mattress stores are fronts for money laundering or drug trafficking comes from how oddly common these stores seem to be, especially in areas where, there doesn't appear to be a high demand. People point out that mattress stores often sit within a few blocks of each other, sometimes even, side by side, despite mattresses being a product most people only buy, once a decade. These stores also appear to have very few customers, yet they stay in business for years. The theory suggests that because mattresses are high-ticket items with flexible pricing, they make perfect cover for, moving large sums of money. Some even claim that big chains like Mattress Firm are part of the scheme, using fake sales to clean dirty money or mask, illegal activities like drug trafficking. But people argue that this is all just a coincidence and, just a business strategy. I mean, mattress stores need little inventory and can operate with minimal foot traffic, but the strange abundance and proximity of these stores, just keeps people thinking, all right, they're doing something sketchy. Theory number two, a lot of alien abductions are actually the government kidnapping people to do experiments on them. The conspiracy theory that alien abductions are, actually government kidnappings claim that, many supposed encounters with extraterrestrials are really just secret experiments carried out by the military or intelligence agencies. Now, according to this theory, people who report being abducted, experimented on, or implanted with strange devices aren't imagining things, but it's not aliens behind it, it's actually just human beings. Now, supporters of this theory believe the government uses advanced technology, hypnosis, and drugs to create the illusion of an alien encounter so that victims won't realize what, actually happened to them. This cover story makes people less likely to be believed if they speak out. Some tie it to the MK Ultra, the CIA's real mind control program, suggesting that these abductions are part of ongoing psychological or genetic experiments. Black helicopters, missing time, and underground bases are often linked to these theories. Now, mainstream scientists dismiss it as, paranoia or misinterpreted dreams, but believers argue that there's too much consistency in abduction stories for, all of them to be fiction. To them, the aliens may just be the perfect disguise for something much more human and something, pretty freaking sinister. Theory number three, JP Morgan sank the Titanic. All his banking rivals were on the boat. With them gone, he was able to grow his bank to the largest in the world. The conspiracy theory that JP Morgan sank the Titanic, claims the ship sinking was no accident. It was actually a deliberate act to eliminate powerful rivals who opposed the creation of the Federal Reserve. Now, according to the theory, banker JP Morgan, who had a controlling interest in the Titanic's parent company, White Star Line, planned the whole entire disaster. He was supposed to be on the ship's maiden voyage, but canceled at the last minute. Meanwhile, three of his biggest opponents, Benjamin Guggenheim, Isidore Strauss, and John Jacob Astor, were all on board and died in the sinking. These men were known to oppose the formation of a central banking system, which became the Federal Reserve the following year in 1913. Some theorists believe that Morgan used the disaster to clear the path for the Fed's creation, ensuring control of the US economy by a small group of elite bankers. Theory number four, Morgan Freeman is actually Jimi Hendrix. There's a lot of strange coincidences that make it almost believable. The conspiracy theory that Morgan Freeman is actually Jimi Hendrix claims that the, legendary guitarist faked his death in 1970 and re-emerged years later as the famous actor. Now, according to believers, Hendrix, who supposedly died of a drug overdose at the age of 27, staged his death to escape the pressure of fame and the music industry. After disappearing from the spotlight, the theory goes, he reinvented himself as Morgan Freeman, eventually rising to stardom in Hollywood. Now, supporters point to physical similarities between the two men. I mean, the skin tone, the facial structure, and their voice. They claim that Freeman appeared suddenly in the public eye in the late 1970s with no solid record of his earlier life, while Hendrix just flat out vanished. Some even argue that Freeman's calm, deep voice is just an older, more refined version of Hendrix's speaking voice. They also find it suspicious that Freeman didn't rise to major fame until he was in his 50s, fueling the idea that he lived an earlier life under another identity. But there are serious flaws with this theory. I mean, Morgan Freeman has a documented history as an actor stretching all the way back to the 1960s, including roles on TV shows like The Electric Company. He was also born in 1937, making him 5 years older than Jimi Hendrix, who was born in 1942. Public records, family histories, and photographic timelines show that the two men did indeed live separate, overlapping lives. There's literally zero evidence connecting them. There's only, the really vague physical similarities. Like they're both. Theory number 5, the dead internet theory. The dead internet theory is a conspiracy theory that claims most of the internet is no longer run by real people, but by bots and artificial intelligence. Now, according to this idea, sometime around 2016 or later, the internet just died. Real human activity, like conversations, comments, and content, was largely replaced by AI-generated content, fake users, and government or corporate controlled algorithms. Supporters of the theory argue that today's internet feels strange, repetitive, and just flat out empty. They point out to how social media platforms often push the same kinds of content, how comment sections are filled with low effort or generic responses, and how viral trends seem artificially created rather than naturally rising from real communities. They also believe, that government or intelligence agencies may be using bots to control narratives, push propaganda, and drown out dissenting opinions. Some versions of this theory go even further, suggesting that only a small number of real users are still online, and the rest is an illusion created by powerful institutions to manipulate public perception. So that means a lot of you who are watching this video are fake. Damn. Theory number 6, the government or oil companies send out employees to deliberately drive badly or step on their brakes constantly on highways to intentionally cause traffic jams to then cause people to burn more gas and purchase more fuel more often. Some punctuation in that would have been nice. This conspiracy theory claims that the government or major oil companies deliberately send out drivers to create traffic jams in order to increase fuel consumption. Now, according to this theory, these drivers are trained or instructed to drive slowly in fast lanes, brake constantly, or switch lanes erratically during peak traffic hours. The goal is to disrupt the natural flow of traffic on highways and cause extended periods of stop-and-go driving. These agents may be disguised as everyday commuters, delivery drivers, or just even rideshare vehicles. By intentionally slowing down traffic, they force more cars to idle and accelerate frequently, both of which burn more gasoline than just steady driving. Over time, this repeated pattern leads to people using more fuel than they normally would, resulting in more frequent trips to the pump and increased profits for oil companies. Some versions of this theory suggest that certain cities or regions are targeted more heavily than others, especially high traffic areas where small disruptions can quickly spiral into basically a widespread gridlock. The timing of these traffic causing operations is believed to be strategic during morning and evening rush hours when roads are already crowded. Believers argue that the impact goes beyond just wasted time. It's a calculated effort to boost fuel sales on a massive scale. The idea paints traffic congestion not as a natural consequence of urban life, but as a tool for corporate gain. Theory number 7, the government is the one behind all these batshit insane conspiracy theories to try to dumb down and separate the people. This conspiracy theory claims that the government is actually the force behind most conspiracy theories, using them as tools to confuse, divide, and distract the public. Now, according to believers, when people start questioning real power structures or, uncovering uncomfortable truths, the government floods the internet and media with fake or exaggerated conspiracies. These false narratives are designed to overwhelm critical thinking, making it harder for anyone to tell, what's real and what's not real. Supporters of this theory argue that by promoting wild ideas like, flat earth, lizard people, or alien mind control, the government creates noise that drowns out, genuine dissent and important investigations. As people get caught up debating false flags, secret societies, or deep state plots, they become divided into opposing camps. This division weakens unity and prevents the public from coming together to challenge those in power. Some also believe that these fake conspiracies are engineered to make the population more gullible over time. By constantly exposing people to bizarre claims, The theory goes, the government dulls people's ability to think logically or question authority effectively. It turns real concern into entertainment and transforms truth-seeking into a confusing maze of paranoia. In this view, conspiracy culture isn't a, grassroots movement. It's a top-down psychological operation. The government doesn't just monitor conspiracy theories, it literally manufactures them, it spreads them, and it uses them as a form of control. The more distracted and divided the population becomes, the easier it is to manage and manipulate. Theory number 8. The lottery in the US is meant to capture time travelers. This conspiracy theory suggests that the system isn't about giving people a chance to get rich. It's a carefully crafted trap. According to this theory, if someone had access to time travel, one of the most risk-free ways to gain wealth would be by, playing the lottery. With knowledge of future winning numbers, a time traveler could easily buy a ticket and walk away with millions. People claim the government is aware of this possibility and created the lottery as bait. Each drawing becomes an opportunity to spot individuals who might be operating outside of the normal flow of time. The system monitors not only the winners, but also ticket purchase behavior, flagging anyone who wins big without a history of playing, who shows up with perfect numbers on a random draw, or whose identity doesn't match normal digital or financial patterns. Some versions of the theory go even further, claiming that winners are closely investigated or quietly detained. In rare cases, they're allegedly offered a choice. You either cooperate with the government or you disappear. People also point out how some winners seem oddly uncomfortable or robotic in interviews, suggesting they were caught off guard or didn't expect to be found. The numbers themselves are thought to be randomly generated in ways that would, trip up anyone trying to use future knowledge too frequently, increasing the odds of detection. In this view, the lottery is less a game of chance and more a netcast across timelines, designed not for fun, but basically for surveillance. To these believers, the US lottery is a high-tech trap, quietly waiting for someone to slip up and reveal that they're not from this time. Theory number 9, birds aren't real. The birds aren't real conspiracy theory suggests that birds in the United States are not real animals, but advanced surveillance drones created and deployed by the government. Now, according to this theory, beginning in the 1950s or 60s, the US government launched a top secret program to systematically eliminate the country's real bird population and replace them with robotic replicas designed to spy on citizens. This theory claims the government used chemical sprays, virus-laced drones, and covert operations to wipe out billions of birds over the span of several years. Once the skies were clear, mechanical birds were introduced in their place, each equipped with cameras, microphones, and tracking devices. These drones are said to be used for mass surveillance, recording conversations, monitoring movement, and collecting data on civilians. According to the theory, birds sitting on power lines are actually just recharging their batteries through direct contact with the electrical grid. Bird droppings are described as a method of tagging vehicles or people for further monitoring. The different species serve various intelligence roles. Pigeons supposedly monitor urban activity, hawks track movement from higher altitudes, and seagulls survey coastlines. The theory also suggests that airports and airplane hangars double as drone maintenance facilities, basically where damaged bird units are repaired or upgraded. The entire system is believed to be run by classified government agencies with access to cutting-edge robotics and artificial intelligence. The skies are not filled with wildlife, but, with highly specialized surveillance tools disguised as everyday birds. What people think are natural behaviors, flying in flocks, chirping, building nests, are, seen instead as programmed routines designed to maintain the illusion that birds are real, living creatures, even if they're not. Theory number 10, DMT takes you to higher realms that all exist within your subconscious because consciousness is the true base reality. Now, this conspiracy theory is rooted in the idea that consciousness, not the physical world, is the true base reality. According to this theory, DMT, which is a powerful psychedelic compound naturally produced in the human brain, allows users to bypass the illusion of the material world and access deeper layers of existence that are normally hidden. This theory suggests that what people experience during a DMT trip, such as contact with entities, geometric landscapes, or alternate dimensions, are not hallucinations, but real encounters taking place in higher realms encoded within the subconscious mind. These realms are considered to be more real than, waking life, containing vast knowledge, spiritual truths, and a direct link to the source of all consciousness. It also proposes that the physical universe is a kind of simulation or projection, created by the mind, and that DMT acts like a key, unlocking access to a multi-dimensional reality that's always there, just out of reach. In this view, every person carries the gateway to other realms within themselves, and the brain is more like a receiver or filter than the origin of consciousness. Some interpretations of this theory claim that ancient civilizations understood this and used DMT-containing plants in rituals to explore these hidden worlds. It also suggests that modern institutions suppress this knowledge because it threatens materialistic worldviews and centralized control. In essence, this theory paints DMT as a tool for awakening, one that reveals the illusion of physical life and exposes the infinite depth of consciousness as a true foundation of reality. Yeah, that one's bizarre. Theory number 11. We live in a simulation and they know it. The conspiracy theory that our entire reality, everything we see, everything that we feel, and everything that we experience is part of a highly advanced computer simulation. According to this theory, what people perceive as physical existence is actually a digital environment programmed with rules, limitations, and variables designed to mimic a real world. Consciousness in this viewpoint is data running on some kind of cosmic operating system created by a superior intelligence. This theory suggests that powerful individuals, governments, or hidden elites are fully aware of the simulation and have access to information that proves it. These insiders allegedly use this knowledge to manipulate events, outcomes, and populations within the system to serve their own interests. From major political shifts to natural disasters and economic collapses, the theory claims that many events are scripted or coded into the simulation by those who quote-unquote run the game. Glitches in reality, such as deja vu, Mandela effects, or impossible coincidences, are seen as evidence of errors in the code or updates to the simulation. Some even suggest that dreams, hallucinations, and spiritual experiences are brief moments when the mind touches parts of the simulation that are usually hidden or inaccessible. The theory also proposes that certain technologies like quantum computing and artificial intelligence are getting close to revealing or even breaking the limits of the simulation. As a result, they, the people who are running the simulation, may be increasing efforts to distract or pacify the general population to keep people from realizing the truth. Reality as we know it is not the final layer. It's a designed environment with built-in control mechanisms. The ones in charge not only know this, but rely on our ignorance to, maintain the illusion. Theory number 12. MLK was killed by the FBI. The conspiracy theory that Martin Luther King was killed by the FBI suggests that his assassination on April 4th, 1968 was not the act of a lone gunman, but a coordinated plot carried out by the US government, specifically the FBI. This theory is based on the idea that King's growing influence, especially his anti-war stance and plans to launch the Poor People's Campaign, posed a serious threat to the political and economic status quo. According to this theory, the FBI saw King as a dangerous figure capable of uniting people across racial and class lines. He had moved beyond civil rights and was beginning to challenge the Vietnam War, capitalism, and systemic poverty, positions that directly threatened powerful institutions. This theory suggests that rather than risking a growing nationwide movement led by King, the FBI decided to eliminate him. The theory also claims that James Earl Ray, the man officially blamed for the assassination, was either framed or used as a patsy. It suggests that Ray's involvement was part of a cover story, carefully constructed to make the killing appear as an act of a lone racist. According to this theory, the FBI either organized the assassination directly or coordinated it through other operatives, making it look like a random act of violence. This theory points to early documented FBI efforts to discredit King, including wiretaps, blackmail attempts, and a campaign to undermine his public image. It argues that King's death was the final step in a long-term strategy to silence him before he could challenge the power structure at a national level. Theory number 13, we did not land on the moon. The Apollo missions only got to near-Earth orbit and faked everything else. Now, this is the most popular conspiracy theory, in the whole entire world, so we can just, go through this one pretty damn quick. This conspiracy theory basically just suggests that the Apollo moon landings, especially the first ones in 1969, were staged by the US government and filmed on Earth to fool the public. According to this theory, NASA faked the landings to win the space race against the Soviet Union and assert American dominance during the Cold War. This theory suggests that the US lacked the technology to safely land astronauts on the moon and return them to Earth, so officials chose to fake the entire mission. The moon landing footage was filmed on a soundstage using special effects, advanced lighting, and carefully choreographed camera work. Director Stanley Kubrick is often linked to this theory, with claims that he was recruited to help stage the footage due to his work on 2001: A Space Odyssey. Supporters of this theory point to details in the moon landing videos and photographs, such as the lack of stars in the sky, the way the flag appears to wave despite the moon's airless environment, and strange shadows that suggest multiple light sources. They argue these inconsistencies are signs of studio lighting and artificial sets, not a lunar surface. The theory also claims that NASA astronauts were sworn to secrecy and that the government has suppressed anyone who tried to expose the truth. Theory number 14, the deep state. The deep state conspiracy theory suggests that a hidden, unelected network of powerful individuals and organizations operates behind the scenes of government, controlling major decisions regardless of who is in office. The theory claims that elected officials, including presidents and members of Congress, are largely figureheads, while the real power lies with a shadowy group embedded within intelligence agencies, the military, bureaucracies, and influential corporations. According to this theory, the deep state manipulates national and international events to serve its own agenda, which includes maintaining control, expanding global influence, and protecting elite interest. It suggests that wars, economic crashes, social unrest, and political scandals are not spontaneous or organic, but are engineered by this group to steer the direction of society in a way that benefits their power structure. The theory also claims that key institutions like the CIA, the FBI, the NSA, and the Department of Defense are deeply infiltrated and act independently of the government that the public sees. These agencies are said to conduct covert operations, suppress information, and influence media narratives to keep the population unaware and compliant. Some versions of the theory propose that the deep state has existed for, decades, possibly dating back to World War II or even earlier, and that every major event, from, assassinations to terrorist attacks, has been shaped or influenced by this hidden power. Whistleblowers, journalists, or politicians who get too close to exposing the deep state are allegedly discredited, silenced, or even killed. So democracy is largely an illusion, and the real power is concentrated in the hands of elites who operate in secrecy. Theory number 15, that there really is a one-world government that manipulates everything. This theory sort of ties into the deep state conspiracy theory, but the one-world government conspiracy theory suggests that a powerful global elite is working behind the scenes to create a single centralized government that would control the entire planet. This theory claims that organizations like the United Nations, World Economic Forum, International Monetary Fund, and other global institutions are not just cooperative bodies, but tools being used to slowly erase national borders, undermine sovereignty, and bring every country under one system of rule. Now, according to this theory, the goal is to establish total global control over economies, political systems, and populations. This one world government would dictate laws, enforce universal policies, control digital currencies, monitor movement through global surveillance, and eliminate dissent. It would replace democratically elected governments with unelected global leaders or councils who answer only to a secretive ruling class. This theory also suggests that global crises such as, pandemics, climate change, wars, and economic collapses are being used intentionally as tools to scare the public and justify increased centralized power. Measures like vaccines, passports, digital IDs, and cashless economies are viewed as steps toward global control. The media, the education systems, and, entertainment industries are seen as instruments of psychological conditioning, shaping public opinion to accept globalism and distrust local or national authority. International treaties, climate agreements, and global standards are not seen as cooperative, but as steps towards merging all nations under one authority. In this view, the one world government isn't a future possibility, it's an ongoing project slowly being implemented under the radar. The ultimate aim is a world without borders, controlled by a small group of elites who operate above the law with total power over every single individual on Earth. All right, I've got to sit down. Theory number 16, Big Pharma, Big Food, and the government being in cahoots, giving us terrible dietary guidelines to profit from our declining health. This conspiracy theory suggests that there is a coordinated effort to keep the population unhealthy in order to generate massive profits. Now, according to this theory, major food corporations create and promote highly processed, sugar-loaded, and nutritionally poor products, while government agencies like the USDA and FDA issue dietary guidelines that support these products rather than prioritize public health. This theory suggests that the food pyramid and other official dietary recommendations are intentionally misleading, encouraging high consumption of grains, processed carbs, and low-fat diets that ultimately lead to obesity, diabetes, heart disease, and other chronic illnesses. These guidelines are viewed not as science-based advice, but as marketing tools created to benefit the agriculture and food processing industries. At the same time, the theory claims that the pharmaceutical industry profits off of the consequences of this engineered diet. Instead of promoting true prevention through proper nutrition, Big Pharma focuses on lifelong treatments like prescriptions for, blood pressure, cholesterol, insulin, antidepressants, and more. These treatments manage symptoms rather than cure the root causes, ensuring that people remain dependent on the medications. The government is seen as the bridge between Big Food and Big Pharma, basically just shaping public health policy in ways that protect corporate interests. Through lobbying, political donations, and, regulatory capture, powerful companies are believed to influence laws and science alternative nutritional information that threatens their profits. In this theory, declining public health isn't accidental. It's part of a system designed to create sick customers for life. The result is a cycle where people are fed harmful food, become ill, and then are treated with drugs, all while corporations grow richer and public trust is manipulated through official channels. Theory number 17. Facebook. The Facebook conspiracy theory suggests that Facebook is not just a social media platform, but a highly advanced surveillance and psychological manipulation tool created or co-opted by intelligence agencies. According to this theory, Facebook's true purpose is to gather detailed data on every user, like, their habits, their interests, their connections, their behavior, and even their emotional states. This theory suggests that Facebook was either developed with the help of government intelligence programs or was quickly taken over by them once its power became apparent. The data collected is believed to be used not just for targeted advertising, but for predictive profiling, mass surveillance, and even social engineering. Every like, every share, every photo, and every message is seen as a data point that feeds into a massive AI-driven system capable of mapping human behavior on a global scale. It also claims that Facebook manipulates users' feeds, emotions, and opinions through algorithmic control, shaping their political views, encouraging division, and reinforcing echo chambers. This psychological influence is said to be intentional and it's being used to test control mechanisms, study public reactions, and even subtly guide major events of elections. The name Facebook is used to suggest a darker, distorted version of the platform, implying it's not just about connecting people, but about watching, steering, and controlling them. So Facebook is not just a natural tech company, but a tool of mass influence designed to monitor minds, influence decisions, and feed real-time data into a hidden machine of control, one that watches everyone all the time. Theory number 18, Epstein's Island wasn't the first nor the last of its kind. This conspiracy theory suggests that Jeffrey Epstein's private island was just one location in a much larger global network of elite-run operations involving child trafficking, blackmail, and secret gatherings. According to this theory, Epstein's Island served as a high-profile example of something far more widespread, which is, of course, elite figures using remote or hidden locations to engage in illegally or morally corrupt behavior without the fear of exposure. Now, this theory suggests that similar locations have existed for decades, possibly even longer, and continue to exist today. These places are said to be owned or controlled by powerful individuals, protected by intelligence agencies, private security, and lawyers of legal and political influence. The purpose of these secret sites is not only personal indulgence, but also strategic leverage, where guests are allegedly recorded or photographed in compromising situations, allowing those behind the scenes to collect blackmail material and exert control over politicians, celebrities, business leaders, and other influential figures. It also proposes that Epstein himself was not the mastermind, but a handler or middleman within a much larger system. When his operation came to light, it was treated as an isolated case. But this theory claims that shutting him down was more about damage control than ending the network. Other islands, compounds, and hidden estates allegedly continue to operate around the world, some in plain sight under the cover of philanthropy, business retreats, or exclusive clubs. Basically, Epstein's story was a glimpse behind the curtain, one part of a deeply rooted system that uses wealth, secrecy, and manipulation to protect itself. The operations didn't just start with him, and they didn't end when he died. The network, according to this theory, remains active, hidden, and far-reaching. Theory number 19. The outrageous stunts pulled by environmentalists, like throwing paint on artwork, are hired by the big oil to make the people who are against oil seem crazy. I think the craziest thing about these conspiracy theories is no one knows how to use fucking grammar. This conspiracy theory suggests that these extreme actions are not grassroots activism, but carefully staged events meant to discredit the environmental movement. According to this theory, major oil companies or related interests secretly fund or manipulate radical protest groups to perform outrageous, disruptive stunts that alienate the public. This theory suggests that the goal is psychological manipulation. By associating environmental activism with irrational, destructive, or annoying behavior, the public becomes less likely to support real climate action or take environmental concerns seriously. Instead of uniting people behind the cause, these stunts create division, frustration, and mockery, making those who oppose fossil fuels look unstable or extreme. According to the theory, these operations are carried out using covert funding, paid actors, or compromised activists who may not even realize they're being used. The media then amplifies these stunts, broadcasting them globally and shaping the narrative that environmentalists are dangerous or unreasonable. This plays directly into big oil's interests by shifting the focus away from pollution, lobbying, and environmental harm and onto the chaos caused by the protesters. Some versions of this theory also claim that intelligence agencies or PR firms are connected to the fossil fuel industry and basically help them plan and execute these events as part of a long-term disinformation campaign. The stunts serve as controlled opposition, loud and visible and ultimately self-sabotaging. The most disruptive climate protests aren't acts of, genuine passion. their strategic moves by the very corporations that they claim to oppose, designed to turn public opinion against environmental reform and preserve the status quo. Theory number 20, MK Ultra continues in various ways. The conspiracy theory that MK Ultra continues in various ways basically just suggests that although the CIA's original mind control program was officially shut down in the 1970s, its experiments, never truly ended. They simply went deeper underground or rebranded under, new names. According to this theory, modern forms of psychological manipulation, behavior control, and, experimentation on the public are direct continuations of MK Ultra's goals, using more advanced technology and more subtle methods. This theory suggests that tactics once involving drugs like LSD and electroshock therapy have evolved into digital and psychological operations using media, social networks, and targeted messaging. Mass surveillance, algorithmic control, and constant exposure to manipulated information are viewed as tools of modern mind control, conditioning the population without their awareness. It also proposes that certain institutions, such as military research labs, intelligence agencies, and even tech companies, are involved in ongoing human experimentation. These experiments may involve emotional manipulation, trauma-based conditioning, remote neural monitoring, or frequency-based mind influence. Some versions of this theory claim that targeted individuals, often referred to as TIs, are unknowingly used in these experiments, experiencing, stalking, strange voices, or unexplained psychological symptoms as, the result. This theory also links MK Ultra's continuation to school shootings, mass violence, and celebrity breakdowns, suggesting that some individuals may be programmed or psychologically triggered as part of black ops tests or distractions. Pop culture, music videos, and news cycles are believed to be laced with symbols and subliminal messaging tied to mind control programs. MK Ultra was not a relic of Cold War paranoia, but the foundation for a vast and evolving system of control hidden in plain sight, designed to influence thought, behavior, and the society at large without ever revealing its true face. Theory number 21, Project Gateway. The Project Gateway conspiracy theory centers around the idea that the US government, particularly through the CIA and military intelligence, explored powerful mind expansion and consciousness altering techniques to unlock access to alternate dimensions, time travel, and even communication with non-human entities. This theory is based on a real declassified US Army document from 1983 titled The Analysis and Assessment of the Gateway Process, which describes techniques involving meditation, brainwave manipulation, and out-of-body experiences. According to this theory, Project Gateway was far more than just a study of altered consciousness. It was a classified program aimed at discovering how the human mind could transcend space and time. Using tools like hemisync audio technology and focused meditation, the project allegedly trained subjects to reach deep altered states where they could explore parallel realities, receive information from beyond our dimension, and interact with entities existing outside physical space. The theory suggests that once the government realized how powerful the gateway process could be, the true extent of its findings were hidden from the public. Further research continued in secret, possibly under new code names, with advanced experiments in remote viewing, astral projection, teleportation, and even manipulation of reality using the mind alone. Some interpretations claim that these techniques allow consciousness to exit the physical body and access the absolute or the unified field, which are basically just a space of all information and all possibilities. The theory also connects Project Gateway to the larger themes of the hidden power of the human mind, suppressed spiritual knowledge, and the use of consciousness as a tool for intelligence gathering and control. Theory number 22, we've cured cancer by now. There's no reason why we wouldn't have. This conspiracy theory suggests that pharmaceutical companies, medical institutions, and certain government agencies are deliberately suppressing life-saving treatments in order to protect their financial interests. According to this theory, cancer is a multi-billion-dollar industry, one that fuels profits through chemotherapy, radiation, surgery, long-term medications, and ongoing clinical care. A permanent, affordable cure would eliminate the need for these services, cutting off, a massive stream of revenue. This theory suggests that natural remedies, alternative therapies, or even advanced technologies may have already been discovered that, could fully eliminate various types of cancer. These cures are said to be hidden, discredited, or quietly bought and shelved by powerful corporations to prevent them from reaching the public. Some versions of this theory also propose that doctors or scientists who attempt to go public with these cures are silenced, discredited, or they just mysteriously disappear. It also claims that research funding is often directed toward managing cancer rather than curing it, with institutions steering clear of breakthroughs that threaten the status quo. In this view, the system isn't designed to solve the problem, it's designed to treat it indefinitely. Some versions even suggest that only an elite few have access to these hidden cures, allowing them to live longer, healthier lives, while the general public continues to suffer. The theory paints a picture of a rigged medical system where the truth is buried under profits, patents, and propaganda, Theory number 23. We don't have free will and we are being controlled emotionally through our phones. This conspiracy theory suggests that modern technology, especially smartphones and social media, has become a tool for psychological manipulation on a mass scale. This theory argues that tech companies, governments, and hidden global interests have developed advanced algorithms and psychological tactics designed to hijack human emotion, attention, and decision-making. According to this theory, phones aren't neutral tools, but precision instruments engineered to exploit human weaknesses. Notifications, likes, feeds, and targeted content are said to create addictive loops that influence mood, thoughts, and behavior in real time. The goal isn't just to keep people engaged, it's to subtly control how they feel and, what they believe. This includes amplifying fear, outrage, loneliness, or desire in order to drive consumer habits, social division, or political outcomes. The theory claims that AI-driven algorithms know more about each individual than they know about themselves. With this level of insight, emotional triggers can be planted with precision, causing people to react predictably, angry at certain headlines, comforted by certain products, or loyal to certain ideologies. And over time, this emotional programming erodes genuine personal choice, making people believe they're acting freely when they're actually just being guided by these invisible forces. It also suggests that data collected from phones, such as your location, your browsing history, your conversations, and even your facial expressions, is constantly analyzed to improve this emotional targeting. In this view, people are not living independently, but are being nudged every moment towards behaviors that serve those in control of the system. Ultimately, the theory paints a world where free will is an illusion and smartphones act as tools of emotional control, turning users into programmable, highly predictable participants in a larger hidden agenda. Theory number 24, reptilians control the world. The conspiracy theory that reptilians control the world suggests that a secret race of shape-shifting reptilian aliens or beings has infiltrated human society and wields immense power over our governments, our corporations, and even, the global institutions. According to this theory, these reptilian entities have disguised themselves as humans for centuries, manipulating events from behind the scenes to maintain control over the planet. This theory claims that reptilians are responsible for major political decisions, wars, economic crises, and social unrest, all designed to keep humanity divided, fearful, and, easier to dominate. They are said to occupy positions of high authority, such as heads of state, royalty, top financiers, and even influential celebrities who are all using their power to influence global policies and culture. The theory also suggests that these beings possess highly advanced technology and psychic abilities that allow them to shapeshift, control minds, and remain hidden from ordinary people. Some versions claim they feed off human energy or emotions like fear and suffering, which drives their need to maintain dominance over society. According to this theory, the true nature of these reptilians is deliberately concealed by governments and mainstream media, either because they are complicit or because they fear the chaos that public knowledge would bring. Secret societies, ancient myths, and religious texts are sometimes interpreted as references to these reptilian overlords. The struggle for freedom and truth is not just against political corruption or economic inequality. It's about a battle against a hidden, non-human force that has controlled human history for centuries. And last but not least, theory number 25. The war on drugs is not meant to be won. The conspiracy theory that the war on drugs is not meant to be won suggests that the entire campaign was never truly about eliminating drug use, but rather about control, profit, and social manipulation. This theory claims that governments, particularly in the United States, launched the war on drugs as a strategic tool to target specific communities, fund covert operations, and maintain power structures, not to actually stop the spread of narcotics. According to this theory, drug enforcement policies were designed to disproportionately impact marginalized groups, especially communities of color and the poor. Harsh sentencing laws, aggressive policing, and mass incarceration are seen as tools used to destabilize these communities, weaken political resistance, and maintain social division. At the same time, the theory suggests that powerful figures within government and intelligence agencies were knowingly involved in drug trafficking, allowing or even, facilitating the flow of narcotics into the country to generate secret revenue streams for black budget operations. This theory also claims that the prison industrial complex profits massively from the ongoing wars, with private prisons, law enforcement agencies, and defense contractors benefiting from high incarceration rates and constant conflict. The continued criminalization of certain drugs is seen as a way to keep the cycle going. Rather than aiming to solve the drug problem, this theory suggests the goal is to perpetuate it. Constant raids, arrests, and public messaging maintain fear and justify increased surveillance, militarization, and funding. The war on drugs in this view is a controlled loop. It's an endless conflict intentionally kept alive to serve political, financial, and ideological agendas. Alright, well, these have been 25 of some of the craziest conspiracy theories that were posted on Reddit. I mean, even though I'm calling them, the craziest conspiracy theories, there are a few in here that I could see being real, or maybe some that even have, a little bit of truth in them. But we gotta do what we gotta do for that clickbait. But yeah, guys, let me know down in the comments what theories you guys found interesting or which ones you guys may agree with. Also, let me know if I should make a part 2 to this video, because I mean, it was pretty fun, researching these theories and broadening my outlook and thoughts on, certain things. Alrighty, y'all. Well, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.